Hey guys, this is Darin, your outreach pastor at Journeys Crossing. Hey, we're right in the middle of what Christians call the Holy Week. It's the week that begins with the triumphal entry, or what we call Palm Sunday, and concludes, of course, with Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday. And on the Thursday night of that week, Jesus was in an upper room with his apostles. And before the dinner, before the Passover dinner, and even before he instituted what we call the Lord's Supper, he did something pretty cool. He noticed that no one had taken the role of a servant and washed anyone's feet. And so the Bible says that Jesus wrapped a towel around his waist, and he went one by one and washed each of the disciples' feet that night. And I was thinking about that as it relates to kind of where we're at with the coronavirus and all this stuff. You know, how do you wash people's feet when you're doing social distancing, I guess. But I want to think about that evening from three different perspectives real quickly. And the first one is I want to think about who was there that night. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm guilty when I read through the Gospels and you hear about the apostles or the 12, and you kind of lump them all into one, indistinguishable kind of group. But that night, each of those guys was at a different place in their journey with Jesus. Each of them had different needs, and each of them would have felt, I think, a little bit differently about what Jesus did that night. And that relates, I think, to the different kinds of people that have needs during this coronavirus thing. I was just thinking about the different people. I know a lot of people have been helping out with nurses and doctors. I think that's awesome. But I also thought about, singles, and I thought about teachers. So Donna and I noticed that a new gal had moved into our neighborhood a month or so ago, and it looked like she was kind of going through the whole thing by herself. And so on Saturday, we saw her out on the balcony, and I looked up and I said, "Hey, my wife and I are having a pit fire tonight. You're welcome to join us." And surprisingly, she showed up. And so for 2 hours, we just talked to her about what was going on. She's a Montgomery County public school teacher. She talked about the struggle of trying to connect to the kids and all the technology issues they were having. It was just a cool kind of thing to hang out with her. I'm also thinking about the elderly at this time. I'm thinking about grocery workers, both the cashiers and also the people that are working hard to put the groceries out. I thought about small business owners. I thought about those who are unemployed. I thought about our missionaries and the kids we're sponsoring. So there's just a lot of people that kind of need their feet washed. And so the second thing that I was thinking about was, okay, so how do we do that? How can we wash feet, like I said earlier, from a place of social distancing? And I think it's going to take some creativity. And the interesting thing to me is that night Jesus, he didn't do something that he meant for us to, duplicate necessarily. He just saw a need that night, and then he met it. In a similar way, with all these different people groups that I just listed to you, just think about maybe what they might need, what their practical need might be, and then meet it. I'll try to put some things up on the Journeys Crossing Facebook page this week, some just ideas if you're having trouble thinking about, what you could do practically to love people, and how you could support small businesses, how you could be generous to the unemployed. I'll give you some ideas about that. And then the third thing I thought about was how that, Jesus completed the work that night. He didn't just wash like 3 or 4 of the apostles' feet. He washed all 12. And he didn't just do like kind of a halfway job. He didn't like wash them, okay, you're good, that's enough. That's good enough for tonight or whatever. He completely washed all of the disciples' feet. And it kind of reminds me of this need for what I'm calling persevering kindness. Because it looks like we're in this thing for a while, right? It looks like, another month or maybe longer. And so I think sometimes we start off well, we do some kind things, and then we kind of lose our energy, we lose our perseverance. It even happens in families, right? My guess is that you guys treat each other way better the first week of this than you are now, because right now, let's face it, everybody's feet stink, right? And why does she always get to watch what she wants to? And I'm sure there's some of that going on. So the idea that Jesus completed the work that night, that he persevered through it, that he finished it, is a good thing. In fact, I want to share a passage of scripture with you about kind of persevering kindness. This is from Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9. It says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." And therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers. All right, guys, have a good day. Thanks.